The moment the photographer grabbed my wrist, I instantly sensed something awful was unfolding around me in silence. His fingers weren't hurting, but the grip felt intentional and strangely controlled, as though he struggled to hide rising panic. I was only seconds away from walking forward down the long aisle, with music already echoing, and every seated guest rising slowly to watch me take that first step toward the man I loved wholeheartedly since the beginning of everything. But Ezra, our photographer and longtime trusted family friend, stared directly into my eyes with urgency and whispered in a steady, low, trembling voice, "Lila, do exactly what I tell you right now. Please check your phone immediately. Do not let yourself visibly react." My heartbeat thudded painfully as dread climbed upward. I assumed instantly maybe something happened to my mother or perhaps my sister or someone close. I lifted my phone expecting missed calls or maybe frantic family texts. What I saw instead rooted my entire body in a frozen breath. It was a photograph of me in my wedding dress from behind, taken inside the private bridal suite, where only my mother, my sister Ivy, and I had been preparing for hours. The message underneath said, "If you take one more step toward him, everything you love will be completely destroyed today." My breath caught sharply and pain filled my chest as realization grew. This moment was definitely not a harmless prank. Whoever sent that message had slipped inside unnoticed into my private room without anyone realizing anything. My skin began prickling as dread crept upward because I wasn't simply being watched from afar, I was being hunted. I lifted my eyes and found Noah standing at the altar waiting, smiled softly when his gaze landed on me with gentle warmth. His expression showed patience, calmness, completely unaware that I, in that exact moment, was questioning every single thing about my safety. Who had done this? And most terrifying of all, whether Noah himself had anything connected to that threatening message earlier. My name is Lila Hart, and today was supposed to become the happiest day of my entire life, without doubt. Instead, it transformed into the day I discovered that the person I trusted more than anyone might be hiding something dark enough to destroy every single one of us if left buried. If you are watching this, please stay with me patiently until the end, because this story might carry the most important warning you'll ever hear in your lifetime. Subscribe to this channel and tell me exactly where you're watching from, because what happened next will completely change how you look at trust and love forever after. That morning, I woke up to quiet laughter echoing faintly in the hallway outside my room. My mother, Rachel, was already in full wedding mode, carefully making sure every detail felt perfect. She had dreamed about this very day almost as much as I had throughout my childhood. She kept repeating softly, "Today, my daughter begins her forever starting now." My father passed away 3 years earlier, and it mattered deeply to my mother that everything felt meaningful, gentle, loving. She said Dad would be watching us proudly from wherever he was. My younger sister Ivy burst into my room holding coffee and a bouquet of white roses. Ivy and I shared everything growing up together: dreams, secrets, heartbreaks, laughter. She was my maid of honor, my closest friend, and the anchor through every storm life ever tried throwing toward me without hesitation. Ever. There was absolutely no one I trusted more. The wedding venue was a lakeside estate surrounded by tall old oaks and softly rolling hills. Morning sunlight shimmered through the water-painting sky in delicate blues, pinks. It was peaceful, calm, a perfect, gentle beginning. Guests arrived early, smiling, laughing, greeting old friends, taking photos beside the floral arch Noah arranged as a thoughtful surprise specifically for me earlier. While my hair was being styled carefully upward, my phone suddenly buzzed. Noah had sent me a short video message. In it, he stood beside the altar, smiling warmly at the camera. "Leia," he said softly before anyone else arrives, "I need you listening carefully. Whatever happens today, remember this: I choose you every time. I will always choose you." His words warmed my heart, yet something inside me paused, not from fear exactly, but from a strange curiosity. What did he truly mean by saying no matter what? I brushed away the thought, calling it simple wedding nerves. My mother entered right then, standing behind me quietly watching, her eyes shining with emotion. "You look exactly as imagined," she whispered with trembling pride. "Your father would be thrilled." I took her hand gently, feeling a deep emotional surge. This was more than ceremony. This was a real beginning, a promise written in love. When the moment finally came, Ivy helped adjust my veil, her smile bright and steady. "You ready?" she asked softly. I nodded despite my pulse, which pounded like heavy footsteps. I stepped toward the doorway, the one leading to everything. Music drifted. Through the air, guests rose in quiet excitement. My mother wiped another tear. Noah was standing there waiting, wearing that calm, affectionate smile. The smile I first loved when we met at charity almost 2 full years ago. But as my hand reached toward the cold metal handle, Ezra suddenly appeared beside me. His normally steady face paled, his voice low yet urgent. "Don't go out there yet. You absolutely need to see what I'm about to show." He placed my phone carefully into my trembling, uncertain hands. And in that next instant, everything around me sharply shifted. A photograph showed me standing in this same wedding dress, in this exact private room, taken only minutes before. Now from an angle behind me, clearly showing someone had stood just barely out of sight. The caption wasn't merely threatening. It carried something deeply personal. It referenced a quiet secret I had spoken to no one except my late beloved father. Someone knew that silent truth. Someone was here among guests, ready to destroy me openly. Before I even reacted, my phone vibrated once more. "This is your only warning." I lifted my eyes slowly and saw real fear reflected in Ezra's usually confident gaze. Not fear meant for himself, but fear carefully held for me. My hands shook violently then as I stared at the screen, but Ezra's grounded voice pulled me back into the moment. "We need to move now before anyone notices your delay." I nodded, forcing steady breaths. The music still played outside, guests whispering among themselves quietly, wondering why I wasn't walking. My mother and sister waited at the aisle's far end, but I couldn't think now. I followed Ezra through hallways, a narrow path behind curtains leading to a quiet lounge our bridal group used earlier. Once the door shut firmly, I turned toward Ezra, trembling. "Who sent this?" I whispered. "Did you see anyone entering the dressing room without permission?" Ezra shook his head slowly. "No one had been allowed except your closest, trusted family. But there's something else troubling. Those messages were expertly routed through some hidden anonymous proxy. Whoever did this understands technology." Before I formed a reply, my phone chimed once again. It wasn't another photograph now. It was an actual video. I pressed play with hesitation. The screen revealed Noah sitting in a dim-shadowed booth 2 nights before this day. Across from him sat someone, a woman with obscured features, her hair hiding her expression. Noah held her hand gently over the restaurant table's surface. His camera slowly zoomed inward as if someone recorded secretly, capturing every quiet, intimate detail. Then the footage suddenly ended, followed by bold, chilling words. "He's lying to you. Leia, walk away now or pay for the secrets he keeps." A sharp pain struck me, crushing my heart from inside. I shook my head repeatedly, trying to understand everything shown. "This has to be fake," I whispered mostly to myself. Noah wouldn't betray me now. Not now, not ever truly. But another message arrived instantly before I even lowered it. "Ask him about June 14th. My breath froze mid-exhale immediately. June 14th was the day Noah disappeared an entire day during the early engagement months. He claimed it was work-related, but never gave full details. I believed him completely then. Now cold doubt slowly crawled up my spine like frost. Ezra put a steadying hand gently on my tense shoulder. Leia, you must choose now whether we privately confront him or stop everything entirely here. But no matter your choice, don't let this unknown person control your every next move. Suddenly, the lounge door opened. It was Ivy entering quickly. Her face showed worry instantly. Leia, why are you here? Everyone outside is waiting anxiously. Mom is nearly panicking now. I handed her my phone. She read the messages silently, watched the dark, unsettling video. Her expression shifting into seriousness I had never witnessed before. We must find who's responsible. It could be someone malicious trying to break you apart, or someone attempting to protect you from something far worse, I whispered softly, asking her. Protect me from what, Ivy? She didn't answer immediately, but the fear inside her revealed a truth unspoken. She held a theory unshared, one she couldn't voice yet. Before I questioned her further, my mother rushed inside quickly. Her breath uneven and trembling, her eyes swollen from crying. Please tell me you're okay, she whispered, reaching toward me. Ezra stepped quietly aside then, giving her enough space. I froze, uncertain what exactly I should tell her now. But before any words formed, a new message appeared suddenly. This one showed no images, no video meant to frighten. One sentence delivered sharply, draining every drop of warmth. If you tell your mother, she will be first punished. I flipped the phone instantly, hiding the screen from view. My knees weakened beneath me and I grabbed the vanity, using it as shaky support. This was no longer simply about Noah or mysterious threats. Whoever was sending these messages was willing to hurt anyone to force my absolute silence. A new, terrifying realization surfaced, rising like smoke inside me. This person knew personal history, something deeply connected to June 14th, my mother and me. I looked carefully at her, seeing something shift behind calm, a flicker of guarded fear. Ivy noticed it instantly too. The room felt suddenly smaller, the air heavy and pressing. Then the truth dawned slowly. This wasn't merely Noah's issue. This was connected to mine, things I thought were buried, sealed beside my father's memory, secrets mother warned about repeatedly. Now on my wedding day, someone dragged them into light. My pulse hammered in terror, thudding loudly in my ears. I stared at my mother, searching her controlled expression silently. She reached out toward me, but I stepped backward, trembling. Unable to accept her calm, "What are you hiding, Mom?" My voice sounded raw, cracking. She stayed silent momentarily then, her eyes shifting to Ivy, as if asking silent support. Finally, she lowered her voice. "Leia, something dangerous is happening. We must get you away before things escalate even more. There are truths you don't know yet, truths that could put you in danger today." Her words confirmed my fear. This wasn't just about Noah, nor the unknown woman recorded. Everything traced back to something within my past kept hidden. Before I responded in shock, Ezra's phone buzzed loudly again. He checked the screen quickly, and his entire expression changed. They accessed the venue Wi-Fi using a mirrored, hidden device. They're here watching everything live. A violent chill consumed me. This wasn't someone far away. This threat was inside here, among guests pretending to belong, blending as friends or relatives. Someone wanted this wedding stopped, not for jealousy or revenge, but because they feared consequences if I truly married Noah, and I desperately needed answers. I tightened my grip slowly around my still trembling phone. I turned toward my mother. "Is this connected to Dad?" Her eyes closed, briefly pained, as if truth physically hurt. "The day your father collapsed," she whispered with shaking breath, "he received an identical message just like the one today." The floor shifted beneath me, everything inside me destabilizing instantly. My father's death felt tragic, but I accepted it blindly. Now, hearing this connection revealed, his final moments felt nearer, as if he warned me now. My mother continued, speaking softly. He told me that if anything ever happened to him, I must protect you always. He said your future held a key capable of exposing something far bigger than us, something extremely dangerous. Leia. She gripped my hands tightly, fear trembling through her bones. The people behind these threats believe your marriage grants access to something they cannot allow. My voice cracked in confusion. Access to what exactly, Mom? She looked directly at me, her expression raw and serious. Your father hid information inside a trust that activates legally the moment you marry. Noah, whoever controls that trust gains every piece of evidence gathered by your father before death. My thoughts spiraled uncontrollably then. I walked toward the mirror, barely recognizing the bride reflected. I thought this day meant love, commitment, and gentle forever. Instead, I stood here trapped in a battle never chosen, holding a secret never known. Ezra stepped closer, voice steady. Leia, you must decide now. Do you continue with everything and claim what your father left? Or do you end everything here to keep your family safe? The choice felt utterly impossible. If I walked, I'd enter a storm blindly, with Noah beside me, uncertain, unsure if he hid truths. If I ran now, I might save innocent lives, yet lose my one chance to uncover what my father died desperately trying to protect. Suddenly, my phone vibrated sharply. This time, a live image flashed onto my trembling screen. It wasn't a photo of me or anything familiar. It showed Noah standing alone inside a dim, hidden hallway, speaking quietly to someone shadowed. The stranger's face was obscured, but Noah's expression struck me. It wasn't anger or guilt, it was raw, pulsing fear, deep and desperate and consuming. The caption below whispered coldly, "He knows what today unlocks." He is not who you believe he truly is. My heart twisted painfully tight. The man I planned marrying wasn't simply hiding something dark. He was terrified of something powerful enough to break him. I realized in that instant Noah might not be threatening. He might be another target pulled into this deadly game. To uncover any real truth, I couldn't stay frozen here. I had to act immediately. I turned toward Ezra slowly and toward Ivy, standing close. I'm not running away now, I said with steady certainty, but I'm not walking blind. I must confront Noah first before anyone else reaches him. My mother tried protesting immediately, but I lifted my hand, stopping her with quiet strength. If my father protected something with his life until death, I won't run from it, not today and not ever. A silent understanding formed instantly between me and my sister. Ivy nodded, then stepped forward. We'll help you, she whispered, but we need to move quickly before anything worsens here. Ezra checked the hallway cautiously before sliding the door open. As we stepped beyond safety, the weight of my decision settled on me like armor. It wasn't fear anymore, it was purpose, sharp and heavy. This wasn't a wedding now. It was an unfolding turning point, a continuation of my father's mission, and it was finally mine to face and finish fully. As we walked down hallways, the sounds of distant chatter and wedding music faded slowly, growing quieter with every step. The air in the corridor felt colder, tighter, heavier, as if truth itself waited just ahead beyond the silence. Ezra halted us, suddenly whispering. Noah stood ahead near the back entrance area quietly, his shoulders tense and lowered. Beside him, a woman lingered, hidden partly in the shadows. For one heartbeat, my chest collapsed inward with crushing betrayal. But then I observed carefully. Noah turned to the woman not with tenderness or warmth, but with urgency and fear. Before Ezra could restrain me, I stepped forward on instinct. "Noah?" I said shakily, my voice firm but trembling. He spun toward me quickly, his eyes wide like fire, as if danger surrounded him. "Lila, you shouldn't be here," he whispered, glancing behind. Nervously, the woman stepped into view. She wasn't some dangerous stranger. She looked exactly like Noah. The same eyes, same jawline, same anxious, trembling hand gestures. "My name is Arya," she said softly, stepping beside him. "I'm Noah's hidden sister." My mind reeled violently inside. Noah told me repeatedly before that he was an only child. Before I formed a word, my phone vibrated once more. A new message appeared instantly. He lied to protect himself. Walk away now or suffer the burden of his enemies. I stared up at Noah, my voice breaking in disbelief. "Why didn't you tell me?" Noah dragged a shaking hand through his hair, then spoke, his voice trembling with fear. "Because Arya lives in hiding. If anyone learned our relation, they'd use her to destroy everything we've been fighting for." He stepped forward slowly, then and placed a small drive in my shaking open palm. It matched exactly the description of the trust drive my mother said belonged to Dad. "Your father and ours collaborated," she said, voice steadying gently. "They uncovered a powerful network selling private stolen information globally, manipulating elections and laundering billions through charities posing as humanitarian. When they attempted to expose it, both of them became prime targets. Your father was killed afterward. Ours vanished completely into hiding. Noah has tried finishing everything your father began, but couldn't. But the moment you marry, the trust activates, automatically transferring every piece of evidence jointly to both you and Noah." Her voice softened with warning. "Then you both become targets." The world tipped beneath me, sending shivers through my spine. I looked at Noah desperately, searching for confirmation quietly. "You should have told me," I whispered as tears gathered. His eyes filled immediately too, not out of guilt, but out of fear of losing the only person he loved. "I wanted to protect you," he said, voice breaking painfully. "I planned telling you everything tonight once the ceremony ended. I made a promise long ago to your dying father. He told me that when the time finally arrived today, I'd need to choose between shielding you from these secrets or standing beside you fully as you faced them together." My breath caught painfully as a new truth surfaced inside. "You actually knew my father?" Noah hesitated, then nodded slowly. "He approached me 1 year before he died unexpectedly. Then he told me you'd inherit something that would place you in the middle of war. He believed I was the only one strong enough to stand beside you through everything." The puzzle pieces I chased all day finally slid together, forming a single chilling picture. My father wasn't distant later because he was merely busy. He was preparing for this, preparing me without telling me. And he chose Noah intentionally, not only as a husband, but as a guardian and ally. Before I responded again, footsteps echoed sharply from behind us. We turned to see Vivian, my aunt, approaching with fury, her expression tight and burning. She held my phone firmly, clutched in her trembling hand. "You were supposed to run," she hissed with venomous rage. "You were supposed to destroy this wedding before trust activation." My stomach twisted violently, hearing, "It was you doing everything," I whispered, barely recognizing myself. Vivian's eyes gleamed coldly, filled with rage and desperation. "Your father ruined our family when he refused sharing the trust meant to be ours. That power and that money belong to us by blood. I wouldn't let you hand it to his hidden allies." She raised a small remote from her pocket swiftly, then pressed it without hesitation there. Screens lining the hallway flickered, revealing secret captured footage everywhere, from cameras she planted silently. Footage capable of destroying Noah, Arya, and their hidden allies. Before she executed more harm, my mother appeared right behind her, voice fierce and steady. "Vivian, this ends right now. You will not hurt Leia." My mother had called security. Guards arrived within mere seconds, restraining Vivian as she screamed, shouting threats and furious promises. I stood frozen in shock, overwhelmed by everything erupting around, yet struck by a realization powerful. This wasn't the end unraveling. This wasn't destruction of life. It was the unveiling finally beginning. It was here to set me completely free. I turned slowly back toward Noah standing there. He held my gaze and whispered with caution, "You may still leave, but if you stay, we confront everything together side by side. Forever." And in that moment, I finally understood fully the real decision wasn't whether I married him. It was choosing whether I was ready now to walk into everything my father always prepared long before. I realized the moment Vivian was taken out of sight, escorted firmly from view. The atmosphere around us shifted sharply and completely. It no longer resembled anything like my wedding. It felt instead like my entire life split into two separate paths. The one I lived believing safety was certain, and the new one I had stepped into where truth cast shadows and every choice mattered. My mother reached me, tears shining in relief, not sadness, but release. She cupped my face and whispered trembling words, "Your father trusted you more than anyone alive. He always knew someday you'd have the strength to face what he couldn't." Her words struck deeper than everything before it. It wasn't about inheritance or exposing hidden conspiracies. It was about becoming the woman my father believed I was destined to eventually rise into. Ivy wrapped her arms tight and reassuringly around, and I held her, feeling our silent promise. Sisters. Facing something enormous, greater than both us, Noah stood several steps, watching me with uncertainty. Not fear of abandonment, but fear of possibilities. Fear of what choice I might make now. Knowing everything revealed today, I walked toward him, each step feeling heavy like a vow forming right beneath my feet. He didn't make excuses, didn't try defending anything. He simply breathed softly and said with honesty, "Whatever comes after this, I will stand here with you completely, forever. Not for the trust, not for your father, but because I love every piece of you, and I'd rather face a lifetime full of danger holding your hand than live in safety in a world without you." Arya watched quietly nearby, her eyes wide, hopeful, as though my decision would shape her future as sharply as mine. I looked around slowly, seeing the remains of what should have been a perfect shining day. Flowers still arranged perfectly, chairs still lined, neatly, guests whispering in confusion. Everything still looked beautiful, yet nothing felt familiar. The illusion had vanished, and strangely, that disappearance brought me unexpected peace. I took Noah's hands, held them firmly together, and told him softly, "We won't continue this ceremony right now, today, not because I'm leaving, but because the life we begin together now cannot start with secrets. We start with truth." A soft murmur spread through the gathered crowd as I turned slowly to face every guest. For the first time in my entire life, I felt completely responsible, utterly in control, too. One explained clearly that the wedding was postponed, but absolutely not canceled. I told them calmly I had discovered something that would affect more than just my family. It would touch countless lives far beyond ours. I promised that whenever we stood at that altar once again, someday we would stand openly with every truth revealed. With every shadow gone, some guests looked confused, some were emotional. But many stood and applauded, not for empty theatrics, but for undeniable courage. My mother stood beside me with steady strength. Ivy stepped up to joining her without hesitation. Noah and Arya walked forward with quiet resolve, and in that moment I finally understood fully. I was no longer a bride desperately trying to protect her wedding day from falling apart. I was becoming someone stepping fully into purpose. Over the following weeks, everything transformed around us. The trust my father had built long ago was activated lawfully now, not through a marriage, but through my decision to claim it directly as his rightful heir. The files he gathered were sent to authorities, revealing intricate corruption systems that had quietly controlled global power networks for nearly countless hidden decades. Names once seen untouchable appeared suddenly in headlines. Echoing across the country, investigations began immediately. Everywhere arrests were made swiftly, many assets were frozen, and although chaos erupted, something remarkable kept happening just beneath daily noise. People slowly were awakening, communities openly discussing transparency, families reconsidered. Priorities deeply. It felt as though a massive fog lifted and the world finally saw itself with clarity. As for my family, healing cautiously began unfolding. My mother finally spoke about the long fear she carried for years after losing my father. Ivy moved in temporarily, helping manage media pressure. Arya remained protected carefully until every threat disappeared, her bond with Full. Noah, once built on secrecy and constant lurking danger, shifted slowly into hope and this steady rebuilding. And Noah and I, instead of rushing immediately into wedding planning again, started attending counseling together, not because we were broken or falling apart, but because we wanted to build a marriage stronger than destruction itself, stronger than any enemy. We started walking nightly beside the quiet lake, talking about trust, deeply, legacy, purpose, and meaning. Choosing one another fully, not only in happiness, but in inevitable storms. The world didn't suddenly transform into perfect safety. The enemies my father warned us about repeatedly did not vanish overnight, but something changed within me entirely that day. I no longer viewed myself as someone ruined, a victim of circumstance, or a bride devastated by a shattered wedding. I saw myself now as a guardian rising, protecting truth fiercely forward, continuing the work begun by my father courageously. My identity was no longer tied to silk lace or gentle illusions. It was forged now in conviction and courage. And when Noah finally knelt before me again, not holding a ring, but holding a promise, I knew the life waiting ahead for us, whatever it contained next, would be built firmly on truly unshakable ground. If this story moved you or made you wonder what you'd do in the same place, then make sure you subscribe and comment where you are watching from, because your story matters too, in every way, and it might be the next one needed.